My name is Sarah Angius and I make hair tutorials.
Okay. Where did you live when you were young?
I lived in Iraq. I was born in Iraq, in Basra, and I grew up in Baghdad. And I lived at my grandparents' house in Baghdad together with my mother, father, my little sister, and my aunt. That was really cozy, and actually, that was the best time of my childhood. I was very creative. I came up with new games that we could play. I was very adventurous. There was like this empty house in the streets, and I was like, let's go there. Let's go on an adventure. Let's see what's inside. I was never busy with my hair. I lived there until I was 12. So I wasn't really busy with hair and makeup. And my hair, by the way, was always very short. So I wasn't doing any braids or any fun ponytails at that time. Like in Iraq, and I think the Middle East, women are very, very, very busy with their appearance. They are very concerned about the way they look, especially when it comes to hair and makeup and the way we dress. I remember my mom and my auntie never went out the house without makeup on. Never. It's a culture. So I grew up watching my mom doing her makeup every single day. I watched my auntie looking very beautiful before she went to her work. She was a teacher, by the way, at my school. So I used to walk with her every morning. Her hair was very big and very fluffy and curly, very long hair. And she dressed so perfectly, the most beautiful sweaters. She had those long, perfect polished nails and the perfume, and she was a teacher, and like she looked like she could walk on the runway. But it's so important there for women to look amazing, because the way you look says a lot about you. Oh my god, my first kiss. I remember my first kiss was when I was 21 or maybe 22. I was really, really late. Well, I wasn't late. I think that's okay. It was really awkward. It was the most awkward thing I've ever done. It was weird, it was really uncomfortable. We tried to kiss, and our teeth were before touched each other before our lips did. So we stopped, and I was like, oh my god, why do people do this? I met Federica during my internship at a salon. That was back in 2008. That's a long time. The wedding was in 2013. Here in the Netherlands. It was the most beautiful moment of my entire life, because we had a very long road and we succeeded to end up with each other. We have different backgrounds. I have a different religion than he is, and that was the issue. We were very happy at that day when we finally succeeded to say yes to each other for the rest of our lives. And we knew that saying yes, in front of our family and relative and friends, and especially in front of God, means no one can break that. So that was like a relief. It felt like, oh my God, finally, like we could lay back, relax, and breathe. In Iraq, we only eat with spoon and a knife. Like fork, we use fork and everything, but I've never learned to use a fork and a knife together. So when we came here to the Netherlands, we were invited to this very glamorous party, and there was this buffet. So you had to, get your food, and then everyone was Dutch. Most of the people who were invited were Dutch, and everyone was, using the fork and the knife. And I'll never forget this moment. I was struggling. I was looking for a spoon, but I couldn't find one. So I was looking at how people did it, and I dropped my fork so many times. And it was so awkward, not because I didn't succeed, but because the looks people gave me, they were looking at me like, oh, never used one of these before. And I felt so uncomfortable. I felt so sad for myself, but it was very, very awkward, because eventually I had to grab another fork, and I walked and then get back to the table, and I just I didn't understood how to use the fork and the knife together. So that was really, really awkward. Yeah, I record tutorials and they look so much fun and easy in this 1-minute tutorial that I put on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. There's so much going on behind the scenes that people don't see. For example, me and my sister, we work together. She's sitting right here, by the way. And sometimes we have arguments. We have to stop filming and just, because we have different way of how we record things. People don't see that. Sometimes I just, I realize, oh my God, I did not press the mic on. So we were talking for hours, no mic on. Final results you get to see on social media is just a very tiny part of a big deal going on that you never get to see. So social media is a lot of fun, but it's not the reality. You do not see what happens backstage. And I'm not talking about vlogging, when people show their lives. I'm talking about my tutorials, how I record them. Sometimes I don't have enough bobby pins, so I need to take one out and put it on the other side just to show you guys I used 3 bobby pins while I was working with just one. So all these things are just tricks to complete a tutorial so you can put it online, but there's so much going on behind the scene. I follow Chiara, which is this Italian girl, and she is so adorable, very successful woman, definitely someone to look up to, and she's only 30 years old, and she achieved so much already. Her sense of fashion is very unique. She wears whatever she wants. She mix and match. She doesn't follow the rules. And I love watching that because it's not something I do and I wear every single day, but I still love watching it. Negin, of course, she's a very successful Dutch woman. She is beautiful. She has her own brand. Her fashion and her sense of style is very beautiful. So she also is very interesting to follow. Something navy. She lives in New York and she shows a lot of New York. She has her clothing line, and I think I love following her because she brings New York closer to me, and I love New York. So every time I watch her stories, I feel like I'm with her in New York. Follow like Suzanne, Huda Beauty, all these girls who are so empowering. They have their own brands. They love to invite us to their lives, and they are so easy to follow because they are very easy to approach. And since we're all women and we're all in this together, supporting each other is by following each other, by learning from each other, and by appreciating each other. I don't think there is something to hate about social media. The only thing that I don't like is when people get bullied through social media. I think it's a very serious thing, and it still goes on. Even I get bullied by some people who follow me, and they feel the need to give this very rude comment or send me this very inappropriate pictures of their body parts. And that's the only thing that I really hate on social media, is that I feel it's so big, there's no control. But I try not to pay too much attention to that because social media is so beautiful. Silly fact about myself, I don't think it's silly.
No, it has to be silly.
It has to be silly. Maybe you can answer that. You're my sister. Since you're asking this question, this means you know what's silly about me. One flaw that I think my sister, my mom, Federico hate about me is that I always try to do what I love only. I love making hair tutorials, I will do that, but don't force me to do something that I don't love. I hate doing something I do not love or I'm not passionate about. Is that a flaw enough? It was her idea that we need to make this tutorial, and she chose the questions. So I never heard them before, and I love your idea, and I hope you like the last 2 questions you want me to answer about my flaws. Thank you guys for watching.
Ja, nee, dat hoeft niet.
Oké.
Het is wel eindigen.